Hey guys, welcome to the Scholar Online YouTube channel, the channel that is all about learning, okay? So if you're new to this channel, please remember to like this video. You'll find the like button underneath the video that you're watching, and remember to leave us a comment, okay? All comments are welcome, whether positive or negative, and I try as much as possible to respond to each and every single comment. And of course, remember to turn on notifications so that you'll be notified every time we have a new video on the channel. We produce a new video just about every week on very interesting topics like web development. Recently we've been working on OpenAI. So just like subscribe and you'll see all the stuff coming your way, okay? I want to draw your attention to the description box because I get a lot of questions which have answers in the description box, okay? Definitely make sure that you open up the description box under the video. It's sort of like hidden. You have to click this show more button to open it up, and there's going to be a lot of links in there. So if you hear me saying I'm going to link the GitHub link on the description below, I'm going to link whatever it is in the description, you're going to find all the links that are relevant to this video. If there's going to be source code, it's going to be starting code, it's going to be in the description. And if it's not in the description, it means it does not exist, okay? And one other useful thing you'll find in the description is a video timestamps. Because our videos are generally quite long, I will try and cut it up into sections and provide the timestamps for you in the description, so you can just jump over to a section of the video and it will take you directly there. If you want to go right to the end, you can just jump over, and if you come back in the future and there was just a part you wanted to watch, you can use the timestamps to navigate through the videos. And then of course we've got our social media links, so definitely pay attention to that, specifically our Medium publication, because a lot of the videos that we produce, we also do a written tutorial on a Medium, okay? So you can read about it and watch the video and you can get more information, okay? So I definitely open up the description. In this video today, what we're going to cover is very, very interesting. This is most probably one of the most useful videos I have created on this channel to date, because I'm going to build for you in this channel today a content generating a platform that utilizes artificial intelligence and GPT-3 in the background via the OpenAI API. That's a mouthful, but in short, basically, you're going to be able to, with the app that we're building here today, generate AI content. So this is content generation. It is produced by an AI machine. It is, however, unique and human readable as if it was written by a person. However, it's optimized in the best possible way in terms of, readability and, like a good reading style. So, the use cases for our application that we're going to be building today is up to like 8 of them. So product description content, we're going to show you how to do that. Job description content, tweet content, cold email template, social media adverts, a business idea pitch, YouTube video idea titles, YouTube video descriptions, so if you watch this video all the way to the end, you will have an application that looks like this, which is built on Python, Flask, and Bootstrap, that will allow you to build an AI content generating application from scratch, okay? So let's test it out. Of course, you want to make sure that it's working. You can navigate via the front page over there at the bottom. Let's say you wanted to do a cold email. We're going to test that. You can navigate via the bottom there, or you can navigate via the top there. So let us navigate at the bottom and go to the cold email template. You'll be able to provide some prompt about what that cold email should be about, and let the artificial intelligence engine in the background write for you an email that is a cold email that you don't have to think about writing a cold email. So let's say you wanted to write a cold email about AI content generating website, right? This website, I'm selling it to my clients and I want to write them cold emails and market this to them, and I don't know how to write the cold email. All right, I could come to this content generator and provide a prompt of what I want to produce and click this button that says get recommendations. It'll go in the background and it will get those recommendations. And there you go. Here's an email. Hello, Our artificial intelligence powered website can help you create a limited amount of high quality content for your blog, website, social media pages. Our website can generate unique content for you to based on your preferences. We offer a free trial so you can If you're interested in learning more, please visit our website, sign up for free trial. We look forward to hearing. This is an email that I would have had to think about what to write, and that's what content generators do. Okay, and a good use case for a platform like this is for your own use case. Like, you can build this and pay for the API and use this within your own company, or you can build this and market it and sell it to people, because some of these content platforms go between $30 to $100 a month for this stuff that I'm going to show you how to do in the next 1 hour. Okay, so keep watching all the way to the end, and definitely remember to leave me comments. Did you like the video? Did you not like the video? All comments are welcome, and let's get started. We are going to continue on our video tutorial series that we've been doing on OpenAI API and GPT-3. Basically, OpenAI is a website or a platform that allows you to access a lot of artificial intelligence, AI, functionalities and functions via an AI, access point, via an AI access point, where you would get an AI access key, and you can then be able to generate things like, content completion, classification, search. There's a lot of AI functionalities that you can now be able to access via an API. Previously, before APIs became available, you would have to write your own models. You would have to write your own AI models, choose the models yourself. You had to, and it required a lot of knowledge and skills. You'd have to get data. You'd have to train your AI. There was a lot of work involved, and a lot of people, just didn't have the skill set to do it. All right. So what OpenAI allows for is for the average programmer who is not a specialist in AI to be able to access these API endpoints. Of course, you pay for it. You get an API key, which is not free. But I think for the services they provide, it's definitely well worth it to get through the shortcut of not having to go through the tons and tons of development work that you would have to do to develop and train your own models. All right. So now you can just access artificial intelligence models via an API endpoint. Okay. So in this video tutorial today, we're continuing along with that. And if you're catching up with us for the first time and you're new to this channel, have a look at our video list. If you just look at the list of videos that are available in this channel, I think the last 3 or 4 videos we made on OpenAI functionalities, and we've got a video over there that shows you how to get started creating an account and accessing the API access keys. There's another video we've done already on generating a blog, right? Content, producing, application, and another one we did last week that shows you how to do tweet classifications using OpenAI and I think the ADA model. All right. Today in this video, we're gonna generate we're going to produce a content generation application like this one over here. All right. So these apps are becoming very popular. And there's a lot of people I know personally that would pay for content generation, AI content generation platform, because this is way cheaper than hiring somebody to write content for you. I mean, if you go to Fiverr right now, the last time I checked, you have to pay, upwards of like 300 to 500 Rand per blog to get somebody to write a blog for you. And if you get an AI content tool, you can write like 10-20 blogs for that amount of money, even more, with this. Of course, you have to have the time to do it yourself, but I think it's definitely better value for money, and you can write the blog the way that you want it. Okay. So the way these tools work is we've already done a video on doing blog generation. Okay, so I'm not going to cover this in great detail in this video here today. What I'm going to show you is a lot of these other, functionalities. Okay, so something like, I don't know, let's say a product description over here. All right, and the product that you have, let's say, is Skolo. All right, and you want to say Skolo is an online it's an online course platform with courses on topics like, I don't know, Python, web development, and AI. All right, let's just do that and say write for me. and then see what sort of content gets generated here. So it's taking a while, but there you go. It's going to rewrite this in a more intelligent fashion, AI fashion. So Scholar is a one-stop shop for, this is not what I wrote, but this definitely sounds much better for product description. There's another one because I've selected 2 variants over here. So what you can see here is this platform is what we're going to build. Well, something similar to this is what we're going to build, because we're also going to use AI in the background, like they're using AI in the background. We're just going to give it a prompt, and then it's going to generate content for us. And this content is human readable. It's AI generated. It's not plagiarized off the internet. It is new content, all right, based on the training that the models have gone through. So this is really, really powerful tool, all right? So our end product is going to look similar to this, okay? So let's just make sure that I'm running this, okay? Okay, this is definitely running. So let's say you go home. All right, so the home page is going to look like this. These are all the use cases that we're going to have. So if you look at the writer over there, these are the use cases. They've got everything from question and answer to email to blog section and all of that. We've got our use cases over here. We're going to be able to generate product descriptions, job descriptions, tweets, cold email template, business idea pitches, YouTube video ideas, and so forth. All right, and you can add this, and you can increase as much. You can add this you can add to this list of use cases. From what I'm going to teach you here today, you will see how I've done what I've done, and you can definitely adapt the code to generate any other use case that you wish, because you'll see how easy it is to actually talk to this AI API, all right? So you can navigate at the top over there. I've got a menu. Let's say you wanted to generate a job description. You can click on job description, and this is where you would enter. For example, you wanted to generate a job description for project manager. All right, and you can get recommendations, and you'll see right now nothing is being generated. This is just like, random dummy text, because I haven't wired this to an AI. All right, I'm going to make the code available for this starting template. So this is a template which you can then get from GitHub, and you can get started with, and then we're going to develop from here onwards, because I didn't want to waste too much time in this video actually building this template, because this takes an hour or 2 to build. All right, so I just want to go from the template to incorporating the AI part of it, so you can figure out how someone would enter a project manager there and get suggestions on the description, similar to what the writer software is doing over here. All right, using this OpenAI platform in the background, the API, and so forth. So we've got cold emails. You'll be able to do the same. So you can navigate through the top over there, or you can navigate through the bottom over there. So if you clicked on, for example, social media ads, it will take you to the social media ad page where you could enter whatever your product is about for it to generate an ad for you, and you can navigate to there through there. Okay, so this template is pretty much done. Okay, it's a it's a bootstrap template that I've built. It's very basic. It just has one home page and all the links to these other pages at the top there. It's running on Python Flask, all right, which is what we use a lot for the simple stuff here on this channel. So I'm going to make all of this available on the GitHub link. If you go to the GitHub link that I will put in the description below, this is what it looks like. You can come over here and you can see these are all the files, all right? This is the config file. This is the app.py file, for example, for the Flask application. You can see this file. It's got all the roots that I've been showing you over there with all the dummy text. So currently when you post something, it just returns to you this dummy text. It doesn't do anything because I haven't wired the AI into it yet. And you can see all the templates over there. This is all the HTML templates for all the different pages. So all of this is already done, okay? So if you just go to this URL and you copy these files, or you can go underneath here under code, you can download a zip file and then you can unpack it and then start working from it. Or you can copy this link, which is the easiest way. Hope you get installed. If you're following this tutorial, this is not a beginner tutorial on Python. This is a bit sort of medium to advanced. You should be able to already know how to have Git on your computer, how to get files from GitHub, so I'm not going to cover that in detail, but for people that are new, you can just follow along here. You will just go and do git add, but not git add, git clone, but make sure you've got Git installed in your computer already. You can just paste that link over there, and it will then clone this wherever in this. It will clone this repo where in the directory that you're in right now. Okay, so I'm not gonna do that because I've already cloned this. But you would do git clone and paste the link that you copy from over there. All right, that's the easiest way to do it. Otherwise, you can download the zip file and so forth. And once you've done that, all right, you need to, of course, create a virtual environment to work from so you can install the libraries that's required. Okay, there are 2 libraries you need right now. You need to install Flask and you need to install OpenAI. I'm going to write this in the README file later on, but if you're following along with us right now and you just installed this file, make sure you get your virtual environment running. All right, if you're not working on a virtual environment, that's also fine. Then you need to then do pip install OpenAI and pip install Flask. Okay, those are the 2 libraries we're going to be working with for now. All right, I've already installed these as well, so I'm not going to do this either. And if you're not familiar how all of these works, there's some basic tutorials I've got on Flask and how Flask works in my channel. You can go and go through that, because we're going to continue from here. We're going to continue from this point going forward, and incorporating the AI into this application, so we don't focus on building a Flask application. But now you should know how to do that. All right, so let us get started. So once you have your documents downloaded, this is what they look like. All right, inside of the config file, I'm not going to open it because I've got my API key in there. Open this config file in there. All right, and then go into your OpenAI, and underneath your personal, go into your view your API keys. All right, over there, and copy that API key that you're gonna get from there and paste it inside of the config file. Okay, you're gonna need that before you do anything. If you don't have the API key, a lot of what we're doing here is not going to work. All right, so once you've done that, you're good. The next thing you need to do is to create a file that is called AI-content.py. You can call it anything you want. And in that file, we are going to import OpenAI import config. We're importing config because that's where our key is. All right, this config file. And then OpenAI is a library we're doing everything with. And then initialize the API, the OpenAI with a key, obviously from your config file, which is that one over there. So this is the basics of getting started. And then this is a blank file as well. So this file is available inside of the repo you're going to be downloading there. You'll see that, okay, no, the file is not available, so you're going to have to add it. All right, you're going to have to add that file. So do that quickly, and then once you've done that, let's head over to the playground. And what we're going to do, the structure that we're going to follow is we're going to do this use case per use case. All right, so the first use case, let's look at our app. Our first use case is to generate a product description. All right, so we're going to go to, I'm going to close this because you should have this downloaded already. I'm going to go to the playground, blank playground with nothing over here. All right. And then we're going to tell the AI what we want. All right. The first thing you must do is that make sure you select the DaVinci Beta version 3. Okay. These are all the different models you can work with. ADA Instruct Beta, Babbage Instruct Beta. There's a lot of models. The DaVinci was the oldest, the best one in the past, but they've definitely upgraded it, and the Beta version 3 works much, much better for this type of use cases. So once you've done that, the temperature, I have it at 0.5. It's for controlling randomness. All right. You can increase it, but the more you increase it, the less results you're going to get. And the less you increase it, the more common results you're going to get. So you have to play around with this and get the right temperature for you. I got a question as to what these settings must be. It depends on your use case, and you've got to play around with this. So for every use case, I'm going to start on the playground and try and get the settings, as much as possible what I want. And the response length, I've increased that to 200 because I don't want to be limited by the response length. All right. And then here I'm going to leave it as best of 1. And I'm going to leave these other things as they were. I'm not going to change them. The default that came with this. The thing that you want to be playing with is this temperature and the response length, depending on the use case that you're giving it, all right? And obviously the engine. So let's get started. So what we want to do here is a product description, okay? So we're going to tell it what we want it to do. We want it to generate product descriptions, generate a detailed product description for, then I'm going to tell it what the product is. So let's pick a product. I don't know. Let's say Apple iPhone, okay? Okay. With a professional tone of voice. With a professional tone. All right. Or let's leave the tones and not confuse it. All right. So let's just leave it there. All right. Generate a detailed product description for Apple iPhone, for Apple iPhone, for an Apple iPhone. Yeah, let's say that. So generate a product description for Apple iPhone, and then let's generate. All right. The Apple iPhone is a smartphone designed and marketed by Apple Inc. It is the first phone. Apple is a line of smartphones designed and marketed by Apple Inc. So this is information probably from the internet. It's been trained. It knows what an Apple iPhone is, right? So let's say you were doing this for yourself, and let's say you just built a product now, right? Like we built a product called Coco, and I think there isn't a lot of information on the internet about this. And I say, write a product description for Coco, and you see what it's gonna get it wrong. It's describing Coco as a traditional South African musical instrument, right? And I'm talking about Coco, my website, right, that I've just built now, skoko.io. You see, so this is not the description that I want. So I might want sometimes to help it along a little bit, right? So I'm going to say generate a detailed description for Skoko, all right? For Skoko business software, all right? Skoko business management software created for small businesses to manage day-to-day tasks. Okay, let's do that. There you go. Suddenly you're getting a better product description. So keep this in mind, that the prompt that you give it has an influence on what you get back as a response. All right. So I think I'm happy with this. All right. I'm going to then remove that. And then I'm going to say view code. And then you can see the code that's been generated over there. All right. So you've got the OpenAI key and so forth, OpenAI.api key. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this response. All right. I'm going to copy this response, and then I'm going to create a function, and then I'm going to call this product description. Okay. And then I'm going to enter here the prompt, but let me call it the query. Right. And then this is the function. All right. And this function, you can see it's got everything that it's using except the prompt over there. So I'm going to remove this prompt. All right. All right. And then I'm going to say generate so I'm going to because if a user was entering this information, right, they would probably only enter this part, because this is the only part that's unique to this query. All right. Because I want a product description, right? Let me just undo that. This is pretty much standard for this query. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste this as a standard query thing, right? and then I'm going to enter whatever the person enters here as a query. So I'm going to say format query. So whatever the person enters as a query will come through there, but this is going to be standard for generating a product description. So I can have it inside of the prompt that I sent to OpenAI anyway at all times, right? And then once I've done that, I'm going to then say, all right, I'm going to say print the response, okay, because I want to see what comes back. All right, and then I'm going to just run this function quickly myself, all right, to see what happens over there. Give it a query. So let's give it a query. Let's give it a query. Let's go back to Apple iPhone. Let's go back to Apple iPhone. Let's give it a query iPhone and then run this function with Apple iPhone. So what it's going to do is this is going to be rewritten, generated detailed product description for Apple iPhone. That's what is going to happen here. So let's save this and run this quickly. So as usual, if you watch my videos a lot, you'll know I write my code on my personal computer. I have to push it to my virtual server to run it from there. So just bear with us on this one. Every time I have to be pushing my code. All right, so that's product description. So we've pushed all of that. We've committed that. All right. Let's then push that. All right. So this is restarting, but I don't want to run this now. Let's get off the Python, the app.py. Let's just list everything that's in here so you can see, right? So if we list everything that's in here, this is the file that I want to run, the AI content.py, all right? So I'm just going to do Python AI content.py, all right? Takes a bit of time, by the way. So this is the response, all right? It comes through. Actually, the best way to have it to view this is you can see this is the response object, all right? So let's then remove that and paste that response object in here so I can see what's happening there. So you'll see that there's some IDs and some, models, whatever in there. I'm not interested. I'm interested in this answer, all right? Whatever is coming through here. So what I want to get this, I must say, so whatever the response is there, I need to get into the choices. All right, and the choices is an array. So I need to get the first element of that array. All right, so the first element of that array, and then within that element, the first element, that's that object over there, and then that object over there will have a text. All right, so this will be the text. Okay, so let's double check that again. So I need to get into the choices, which is this one. Then there's an array, and there is an object in there on the first object, and then there is the text. All right, but you might running this function can throw an exception inside of Python if you're familiar with how Python works. So I'm going to do something else. I'm going to put this inside of a variable. All right, so let's call this the answer, whatever you want to call it. Let's call it that. But calling this function can throw an exception. If, for example, no result came back and the returned object didn't look exactly like this, and you immediately try and find choices 0, whatever, it will throw an exception. You don't want that. If this was a real operating function, you would have a problem. So we're gonna put in some sort of controls in place to catch these exceptions. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to say is if choices. So every time you have a response inside of a JSON object, and it could be a different response, like if there was an error, maybe you wouldn't get these choices, you get an error response for some reason. So you need to make sure that this choices object is available inside of your response. Okay, so I'm going to say if choices in whatever the response is. All right, so in this response, all right, then we can proceed. All right, and then I'm gonna do another check to make sure that there is something available in there and I didn't return an empty list. All right, so I'm gonna check again that if the length of, now that I know choices is available, I can then say if the length of response dot choices, all right, if the length of response choices, if the length of this whole thing is greater than 0, which means if there's something inside of the array, then I know that something was returned. All right, then I can say that the answer is equals to this. All right, then I can say the answer is equals to that. Right, so I can then get the choices at 0 text. All right, what you could do, you could also say if text in there, but I would assume if a response was provided, this text is going to be there. So this is a decent assumption to make. All right, then once you've done that, you want to print the answer. All right, and then you want to say give it an else. All right, okay, and the else is just going to be oops, sorry, you beat the AI this time, something like that. All right, which means that nothing was provided. All right, so the answer is that, right? If there's nothing, sorry, if there's nothing in there, and then I will put that as well, if else there. All right, so if, for example, there's no choices, it will return that answer. If the length is not greater than 0, it will return the same answer. But if it has whatever, the answer will be that, and then we will print the answer. Okay, so then we can run this function again. All right, if you remember this function, let's just copy it from there. All right, and we'll paste it in there, and then we're gonna have to give it a query. This time, let's give it a different query. What are we gonna give it? What are we gonna do? Let's say let's like put in Elon Musk's no, let me think of an interesting product that is popular and famous that an AI would know about. Yeah, Samsung mobile phone. Right, let's run this query. Awesome. All right, we're going to clear this, and then we're going to look for that function and run it again. All right, if response, okay, so there's a bit of a problem here. If response choices, okay, we need a closing bracket in there. All right, we're missing a closing. So if response choices, if the length of response choices, yeah. All right, so that was just a typo. All right, let's run it. Okay, means no typos this time, and there's the response. There you go. Samsung mobile phones are known for their sleek design. This is what I want. Okay, so this is what I wanted to be returned. So this is the answer without everything else. Okay, so I'm good to go. So I know this is the answer, right? So this answer over there, instead of printing it, I'm just going to say return. Right? So this function is just going to return the answer. All right. So we've got this function returning the answer over there. So let's copy it as it is, this whole function, and go back into our app.py file. So now we're doing product descriptions. All right. So instead of printing the query, what was there, we're going to delete that printing of the query. We're going to instead paste that function with that query over there. But of course, we have to get that file imported at the top of the app.py. So you're going to go at the top there and you're going to say import, paste that function over there, and then you need to run that function like that. All right, dot that. All right, so this will run the function and print or return whatever it is, but you're going to have to put it inside of a variable. All right, so this variable, which is the OpenAI answer, that was lorem ipsum what that was this dummy text. All right, you need to let's just X that in there and paste that and say it's equals to that. All right, and then we don't need this prompt anymore. Actually, we do need the prompt, so don't leave it, don't remove that. The prompt is used for something else. All right, so the OpenAI answer is that, and the prompt is AI suggestions for this are. So the prompt, you'll see, if you look at our templates, let's open like the product description. The answer is you know, the OpenAI answer is displayed inside of a paragraph. Okay, and the OpenAI answer is this one over here, which is going to be returned from over there. And then you'll see that the prompt gets displayed at the top there, which is like the heading of that paragraph or like the topic. And that prompt is just going to say AI suggestions for whatever the query is. And that query is the query that comes in from the form. So once somebody posts a form, we get that, you know, product description for whatever it is they've entered in there, and that's the query that we send to the OpenAI. It's the same query that we put in this paragraph to send back to the front end. All right, and this is all you need. It's that simple. 2 lines of code for this level of AI. All right, so let us now save this, and now we should be able to run this as a function. So let's just make sure that there's nothing running there. All right, when we import this file, and we can close that. All right, and then we can clear this and push these changes again. All right, and then now we need to run the app.py. All right, so we're running the Flask application now, because we're going to enter this information from the form on the front end of the product description page. And what we've entered is going to then be sent into this function of the product description function, which is coming from this AI content file, which is this AI content file. We've already tested the function. We know this function works very well, and it's going to return the answer that we want it to return, except if it doesn't get anything, it will tell us, oops, sorry, you beat the AI this time. All right, so this is doing that, and it's going to return that OpenAI answer, and that's what we're going to send to the front end, and we're displaying that in the HTML. Okay, I know I'm going pretty fast, but this is pretty straightforward if you're familiar with the way Flask applications and templating works. Okay, so so let's then run app.py. So now we're running our, you know, AI function inside of the Flask application. All right, so let's go into our Flask app, and we're gonna refresh this page. We are now on the home page. We can navigate to the product description from there, or we can navigate from there. All right, so let's say we navigated from there. It takes us to this product description page. All right, there's nothing happening there. So we can enter anything that we want. Example, Apple iPhone. I've already tested Apple iPhone. I've tested Samsung mobile device. Let me try and see if it knows the BlackBerry mobile phone. All right, and then let's enter get recommendations to submit this form, and see what gets returned from it. It's gonna take time this time. There you go. So this is the response. So AI suggestions for BlackBerry mobile phones are, so this is what we're doing here. AI suggestions for this, whatever the query that was entered just gets feedback back to the thing, and that's the prompt that gets displayed inside of the header 3. Okay, this header 3. All right, and then this is what was returned from the AI. Okay, the BlackBerry mobile phone is a high quality, reliable cell phone that offers many features and functions. This phone is perfect for busy individuals who need to stay connected. The BlackBerry phone screen makes easy messages navigate through the menu. It features the QWERTY keyboard, and we can see this is pretty much a description of a BlackBerry phone. But if you enter something like I don't know. Let's like figure something that it's not gonna know. I don't know. Soconi. Yeah, like I don't know if it's gonna know what Soconi is. All right. Earrings, Soconi earrings are beautiful accessory for any outfit. They are handmade with love and care. Okay, so somebody there must be some content on the internet somewhere about Soconi as earrings. Okay, so this is trained based on terabytes and terabytes of information that was available online. So if you're gonna search for something that somebody wrote about online, you will get it. But if you want a more descriptive thing, like what I was explaining to you, let's say you wanted to say, Skoko is a business management software. All right, business management software that has, software created for small businesses. Right. So I'm prompting it what I want it to give me. All right. And hopefully it will give me more about what I want. It will tell me more about a cloud software. There you go. Skoko is an intuitive cloud-based business management software that is designed operations with Skoko. Users can manage their finances, inventory, sales, and one place. I mean, I couldn't have imagined writing this paragraph myself. This stuff that I'm showing you, I was just about to swear, is what you're going to pay $29 a month to get from here. And you can build it yourself. All right. That is what you're learning here on Skoko. Okay. So basically what you need to do is the same thing for all of these use cases. Okay. I've shown you one use case, but it works exactly the same for all the other use cases. I'm going to just take you through one more use case, which is called email template. And then I'm going to let you build the rest of the app yourself. Because actually it works exactly the same, because we're going to use basically the same model. You use the same DaVinci model. It's just how you describe to the AI what you want it to return that's different. Okay, so let's do the cold email template use case. All right, because I think that's very interesting. Let's do that. So I'm going to close that. So product description, let's go down. If you this is the cold email. Currently, it's just printing that dummy text. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy everything that is here. All right, inside of the query. Okay, actually, except for the query. So let's just the only thing I need is I don't need to copy anything at all. Let me just rewrite this so I don't make mistakes. Okay. Cold emails. All right, so OpenAI answer, this OpenAI answer, right? Just want to delete this. Right, OpenAI answer. We're gonna rewrite this. All right, we're not gonna print the query. All right, so we're gonna write a function for this. All right, so let's go back. You can start with the playground if you like. All right, so you can say generate a cold email. Right, you can say generate a cold email for the following product. Right, and then put the product. I'm not gonna do it here because I'm pretty sure it's going to work exactly the same way. So what I will do over here is, it's, because the code is exactly the same, I'm actually just going to copy this function and change only the descriptor inside, because this is the only thing that's different. In fact, if you wanted, you could even actually, let's do it this way. All right. Let's call this the OpenAI query. Right? Let's call this function the OpenAI query. And then make everything, this whole prompt, make it a query. Right? But before I do that, let me copy what's here. Okay, let's make this whole thing a query. And then go into the app.py. And, because writing repetitive code is always a bad idea. All right. So over here, instead of calling this query, let's call this submission. Right. And then the prompt over here must be submission also. right? Then that's where the query comes in. And then what we'll call the query is, let's paste that, generate a detailed product description for submission. You see what we're doing here? Okay, remove the comma at the end. What this is doing now is that we're writing the descriptors inside of the Python Flask application so that we can probably reuse this function. So we can write this function only once. All right, so we don't have to rewrite this function for each and every single query. So change this function to that. All right, so this OpenAI query, that's the query. So the query is generate a detailed product description for that submission. So, and then the submission is whatever that we got from there, and the query is that in AI suggestions for that. So then what we need to do, all right, is just, then we can copy this whole thing, actually, except for that. You can copy this whole thing. And for the cold emails, where are we cold emails? And you can paste it over there, right? And then we need to call this submission, of course. So this is what the client submitted. We build a query based on that submission. We get the answer, which is the open. And now we're using the same function, but the query will be different. All right. And then we prompt AI, whatever, and then we return the prompt. Okay. So let's, generate write a cold email to potential clients about our product. Yeah, about, let's just say about. Yeah. Write a cold email to potential clients about this, whatever it is that is going to be entered as the query. So the user will enter whatever it is, but the query will always be about a cold email, right? And then that's AI suggestions, prompt, and yeah, that's it. So let's save this and see. Right, and then this is restarted. So we're going to go back to our application and we're going to restart it. Everything is still good, no errors. Let's go to the cold email, no problems. So let's say, what do we want to write a cold email about? We want to get a cold email template on, let's AI content generation software tool. So I want to write a cold email about this. I don't know what to write. I want some ideas. I want the AI to give me some ideas. Let's get those recommendations. All right. Hi there. I hope this email finds you well. I'm excited to introduce you to my new AI generation tool. This tool uses AI to help you create content that is both engaging and on brand. It can help you write blogs. Obviously, you can put it inside of an email, and then you can have thank you, your name. All right. So you can see here that this thing does not include, because I'm sure if I had to print this, so it doesn't include the formatting, because sometimes with OpenAI, it actually even formats the thing with the lines and everything, because you can see over here, for example, this hi there was probably in a different line, and then I hope this email finds you well was a different line, and thank you for your time and your name would be a different line. Okay, that if you copied this, right, and I don't know, I'm just gonna find a place to write something at the bottom here. If you copied this and you pasted it in a new place, right, and you could actually format it yourself, and I'm sure this was formatted properly. It's just that the formatting doesn't come through, thank you, your name. And I think we did the formatting with our blog writing tool, right? We did do that because there would be new line. All right, so let's try formatting, because I know it will replace, it will have like new line like that, to within the what it returns. So let's try and see if we can capture the formatting in this. So especially for the email writer, because I think the formatting is important for the email writer. So where is it called, emails? Because I know from experience, don't ask me how, but I know that the response actually comes formatted with string formatting, but I need to get that. So OpenAI answer unformatted. All right, then I'm going to say OpenAI answer is equals to this unformatted version, right? Okay, and then I'm gonna just say replace everywhere there is a new line, right, with a break, right? Replace everywhere there's a new line with a break so that the HTML can read it. And then inside of the cold emails over there, we would have to use safe so that it can parse the HTML, right? Let's see if this does the trick. If it doesn't, you guys can figure it out. But that's gonna be my best attempt online with the time that we've got. All right. Get commit myself. Try formatting the text. It's not formatting the text per se, so excuse my language. It's actually, the text comes with already the breaks and everything, determined, like already inside of the, for example, if you did it over here, you would see the email, let's say, AI content generator, right? If you did it here, you would see it would come forth looking like an email. You see, hello there, and so forth and so forth, and then with an answer. So there's a line break over there, and this get returned even with the API, but it's represented in this format. Okay, so for you to be able to display it in your HTML, you want to replace it with a break, and then make sure that you pass it in the front properly, that it shows it shows it correctly. And then there's something else that I just noticed over here for my content, whatever, the maximum tokens, that's 200. I think that's okay. All right. So let's save that. Did we change anything? We didn't. All right. So let's refresh this and test this again. All right. So let's say AI content generating tools tool. Right? Get recommendations. There you go. That looks much better like an email. So it's able to replace the new lines that's already in what being returned. Otherwise, it wasn't passing those new lines. It was just like sort of skipping over them. And you can see this looks like a proper email. Then you can copy and paste it the way that you want it. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to go, and because this is now just a manual labor, but I think I've shown you the majority of what you need to be able to cover here. So inside of the app.py, basically what you want is to, rewrite all of these functions like that. Okay, and luckily for us, we don't have to have multiple functions over there. We can use just the one function. The only thing we need to edit for each and every use case is the query itself based on the submission. Okay, so replace all of this to be submission and rewrite it like that, and then your tool is ready. Okay, if you can describe your use case properly, you'll be good to go. So I'm going to stop this video and I'm going to do it in the background, and before I close, I just want to show you how the app looks at the end when everything is done. Okay, so I've completed all of these functions. I've even replaced what the description we had done before. We just added that, replacing the new lines with the breaks, and so I've done it for everything: tweet ideas, cold email, social media, business pitch, all the use content. That's basically the only difference. The only thing I'm changing is the prompt, is what I give the OpenAI sort of, because it's completing the text, so I have to start it with something. And obviously the more detail you give it, the better the outputs are going to be, as you would know with AI. And you don't have to use the words that I've used. You can use any words that you like, but I think these ones should work. For example, under video ideas, generate YouTube video topic ideas on whatever the topic that's going to be entered via the form. All right. So that's basically how it works. Just rewrite the description for the use case that you want. So once you've done that, I've just restarted this page. Let's test them. Okay, so we've already tested the product description. Let us test the job description, which we've also just done. Let's enter in the product manager, right? That it writes as a project, a job description for a product manager. It's going. There you go. The product manager is responsible for the overall success of the product. They work with the team to define the product vision and strategy, and they manage execution of the strategy. The product manager is responsible for understanding. You see, so it actually gives you a lot. And if it was a job that was not obvious, you could give it a prompt about what the description is, and it will rewrite it for you in a nice format, right? So that we've done, we've checked the job description. Let's test the tweet. Okay, so I want to tweet about CRM software. All right, and let's generate a tweet idea and see. All right, CRM software. So that's what I've started with. CRM software is the key to success for business. CRM software is the key. It helps you track customer data, interaction preferences, and you can run this every day and generate new tweet ideas every day. It's not gonna produce the same thing twice. If you want me to test that for you, let me put it again, and you'll see the next output is gonna be different from this one. Okay, CRM software is a great way to keep your business organized and in control. So it gives you a lot of options over there. So this is the same thing as that, but maybe you can just copy that and tweet it, and you can even generate hashtags. Okay, there's a way you can just rewrite this. Where is it? Where's the tweet idea option? Let's actually do that. So cold emails, tweet ideas. Okay, so I'm gonna do something very interesting here. I'm gonna say that the submission is that, okay, and then the query one. All right, and then we're not gonna format anything. We're just gonna say OpenAI answer. All right, we're just gonna say OpenAI answer is equals to that, because for the tweet I don't think I need all the extra spaces, is equals to query one. All right, so query one is generate tweet on that subject, the submission that was given, and then it gets that answer with that query one. I'm not going to do that. All right, so this is not OpenAI answer. This is I'm just going to call this okay, let's copy OpenAI answer, because we still need the OpenAI answer for the front end. So let's paste it. Let's leave it blank for now. Let's say it's X, and then let's call this part one. Okay, part one of the tweet. All right, so then part two of the tweet. So part two of the tweet is going to be it's going to be AI content. Actually, let's just do this. So part two of the tweet, it does the same thing, but instead of this query one, we're going to give it a different query. We're going to say generate, okay, Twitter hashtags for, all right, and then we're going to enter the same thing, format submission. So the same topic we're going to use to generate hashtags and actual tweet content. So we can actually, just to make this look simpler for you so you can see what I'm doing here, let's not even have query one, query two. Let's just paste it like that, and then you can see what it's doing there. Okay, so let's just keep everything simple. So part one, we're generating the tweets. Okay, part two, we're generating the hashtags. All right, then the answer is going to be part one. All right, so the answer, okay, all right, so the answer of this tweet is going to be part one. All right, and then it's going to have a break in between. All right, and then it's going to have part two. Right, See what we're doing there? And then we're going to say part 1, part 2. Right. So the answer is going to be a string, all right? And then the answer that comes here first, it will put it in there, and it will add a break, which means like a new line break, whatever, which will be passed in the HTML. And then it will give us part 2, which should be the hashtags. All right. So I think this should work better for the tweet. Okay. So the idea with this OpenAI is use your creativity, think about certain things. I mean, even with blogs, you could do this. You could do multiple calls and write an entire blog without having to make individual calls for each and every single blog. There's ways around these things to make multiple calls and then combine those use cases into one final product, as opposed to thinking that every time you make a call, that's the end product. You understand? An API call can just be a section of an end result that you can combine with another section to get a complete product. So this is an example of us making 2 different calls to get a complete product of an actual tweet, but we did different things. So did we save this? Let me just make sure, because I forget, I'm talking too much. All right, let's push this. All right. Okay, so let's refresh the Twitter thing. All right, I'm going to input the same thing, CRM software, and see. This time it will take long because it's making 2 calls. Okay. So what it's doing here is that it's inputting what we entered there before, CRM for small businesses, top 5 picks. All right, and then so this is basically the hashtags, and then this is like the content of the tweet. All right, so from what it looks like, this content of the tweet, perhaps we need to include also the submission itself. All right, it looks like the submission. This is sort of assuming that because it's text completion, so it's completing or whatever. So generate a tweet on the subject. All right. And then let's put in here a new line and a full stop. All right, because it's completing point. Okay, I'm gonna say write a tweet and then give it a new line so that it then, yeah, let's try that, because I don't quite like what I'm seeing yet. All right, let's see. Our Flask app has already restarted the server. Let's refresh that. Let's put the same thing again and see if this time we get something that looks more like a tweet. There you go. This looks, I think this is much better. CRM software, introducing the best CRM software in the business. CRM This looks more like a tweet. All right, I don't know what is something people like to tweet about. Let's find like a different topic. Okay, the NBA finals game winners. I don't know. Let's see. You wanted to tweet about the NBA. There you go. NBA finals game winners. Which NBA final game winners was your favorite? That's a question. So you could tweet this and then people respond. I mean, you can like think about anything, like, so yeah. So I think I'm happy with the tweet. The cold email we've already tested. Let's have a look at the video ideas. All right, so let's say we wanted to generate video ideas. By the way, the background is the same. So the video ideas, want to generate video ideas for best accounting software. All right, let's see what OpenAI would give us there. All right, the best accounting software for small businesses, best accounting, These are all ideas, entrepreneurs. Okay, now it's repeating some of it again. And if you want to reduce repeatability, you just basically go to AI content over there and you increase this temperature. Okay, so let's increase it to like 0.7. Right? So let's increase it to 0.8. right? When I increase it to 0.8, and then I'm going to try this call again, right? Right, that is restarted. So I'm gonna copy this thing. All right, I'm gonna just paste it there again. And by the way, feel free to play around with these, variables. These are by no means the best variables to work with. These are things you can change depending on your use case. And I'm showing you how to use the API. But when it comes to fine tuning it and getting the best results out of it, that's really going to be up to you. But I think these ones are pretty okay. So hopefully we'll get less repetitive results with this. Okay, so let's try that. It's pretty much similar, but small businesses. Okay, at least it didn't repeat small businesses too much. So it only repeated it once. Before it was repeating it like 3 times. So when you increase the temperature, it does reduce repeatability and gives more variability, or it gives more randomness. But then again, it depends, and you can see the description of what these variables are, like temperature. If you just hover over it, they lowering results in less random completions. As the temperature approaches 0, the model will become deterministic and repetitive. You understand? So you can read here to understand what these variables mean, and you can play around with them to get more results with what you want. But I think I've done enough, and this is sufficient. Like, if you build this in a nice looking front end, you can sell this stuff to people for like $30 a month, really. And it's like, I don't even think if you look at let's just go to my, personal account. I just want to show you. That's okay. If you go to my personal account, I just want to show you like how much credits I've used. So you can see right here, every time you make an API call, you use credits, right? I've only used not even a dollar of the $18 that they've given me. This is all the tutorials I've done since I created this account. Okay, so this is like 3 hours of tutorials and working alone. So $18 is going to take you a long way. And if you invested just $100 in this and built a platform like that, imagine the returns you would get from that $100. You'd get a lot. So definitely worthy of a business idea that I'm considering myself doing as well. But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you again next week, where we'll continue with the more interesting tutorials right here on Scholar Online.